WNTN Radio Boston. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Itali-Echo, Boston's only bilingual Italian-American show. This is your host, Viviana Dragani, and today I will host Stan Kasprzyk, author of the book Suspended in Vast Plain. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Juliana, and ciao. All greetings, best greetings to your listeners.
Thank you. Ciao. So, first and foremost, tell us about your African adventure.
Well, it took 2 years. It's long enough to experience the hardships, and mostly at that time it was, and probably still, it's considered the white man's graveyard. The major parts of West Africa, because of the diseases, malaria, and poisonous vipers. Climate depends on the location, and my location in Yola, in northeastern Nigeria, was one of the harshest and the least developed. And this was I worked as a lecturer at the university that was just starting in 1983-84. On the other hand, I came to Nigeria on the contract that was controlled, prepared, and by the Polish headhunters, I would call, which was a company controlled by the security services. So I was at some point, and Africa was. When I wrote the book, I first thought that this will be an African story all the time. That the experiences are so important, so dramatic, and so vivid to describe. And I thought about Africa before. I liked to study world geography, so I knew where Nigeria is, and a little bit of history, and so I came comparing to other Polish people that were there also working at that time. I was probably I was the youngest, and I was also the most positively had most positive attitude towards the local people, towards the nature, Africa in general. On the other hand, I was very disappointed. It was a difficult time in Poland. It was a time of solidarity, of conflicts between the vast majority of the society with the communist regime. There was finally the independent union was created under Lech Walesa. You probably remember that name, Nobel Peace Prize winner in '83. And this led to imposing a martial law controlled by the military, with some riots, strikes, and some casualties in the coal mines. and I left Poland about a year and a half after those events, after martial law, and the struggle was continued at the time, and Polish authorities felt. I mean, everybody was kind of uncertain what's going to happen, and authorities tried to push people, those contesting people, away, out of the way from Poland, and they looked. They were ready to give contracts, so I was left free. I got also my family later. A little bit spoiler in the book, because I don't introduce family at the beginning, and then I just decided through thinking about my situations, my prospects, checking the different options to emigrate, to leave, to cut links with socialist Poland and go to the West. And I applied for different with different countries for visa, and Canada was the most friendly in this process, I would say, and this is how I ended up in Canada, in Toronto. So that's the story. The book.
Sorry, very interesting. The book.
The book covers the period of 2 years in Africa, with some flashbacks to why I'm there and what I feel and what is my background and what is my outlook, where I want to go, and what are my possibilities in the world. I also contacted lots of people in Africa. It wasn't like completely remote place. There were Americans, Danes, Italians from the north, obviously, and working on different projects. So I had one Scott, by the way. So it gave me some idea what life could be in the West, how people, what is the attitude, and how I feel about it, whether I feel myself in the right spot, in the right place. Can I handle this whole thing? So this is why I say this was a period of suspension and at the same time investigation of my options. So finally, at some point in the book, I said to my wife, "Look, we leave our country. We emigrate to the West. We go West."
Thank you. And what were your survival challenges?
Well, it was, we were protecting our bodies from malaria. So, and we actually got malaria, but because we are taking some medicine, it was not severe. There was an epidemic meningitis at some point happened, but we were vaccinated by the authorities. Obviously, I found snake or vipers and snakes of different sort, poisonous, pretty dangerous. And there is a story of close death situation with one of my friends. There was a big problem with amoeba, which affects the digestive system. If you get this to the body, it can develop to sometimes into bad situations. So we were trying to not eat local foods like local milk, which was a big problem. We didn't want to. We had to clean, basically sanitize all fruit and vegetables that we would eat raw. And the water had to be filtered and boiled to kill any possible bacteria. So we were not affected by this part. There were some people talked about scorpions, this kind of problems. But obviously there were political and social issues as well. I lived through a coup of 1983. In the last days of 1983, there was a coup in Nigeria. The civilians were overthrown by military government. And then a couple of months later, there was a big riot. I described it in a chapter called Maitatsine, which is the name of the movement. one of the popular names of that movement, and it is I consider, and many consider it a predecessor of the current problems with Boko Haram in northeastern Nigeria, where it's an Islamic group that bombs markets and kidnaps schoolgirls, the famous Chibok schoolgirls a couple of years ago, kidnapping. But on the other hand, Nigeria is a big country. It's a complex country, and for many reasons, Yola, being a remote place, was rather safe on this side. There was no robberies like in the south of Nigeria.
All right, thank you. Wow, wow. And what was your coming of age?
Well, I consider I'm when I first started to present chapters of the story in my course of writing memoirs organized by school boards here in Toronto, some people say, "Oh, this is a coming of age story," and I intentionally presented myself as a, although I was 33 at that time, as a kind of inexperienced, naive person, and in a sense, I was. I had a very ideal vision of the world, of society. For a long time, I hoped that socialism and whatever was proposed to the people in Poland will work, will be efficient, the economy will work fine, and we'll have all goods and we'll be satisfied working for it. And I looked. My most biggest criticism of socialism was from the economic standpoint. I didn't care much about all this political part, although it was nasty, to deal with this social security. So I lived in a pretty comfortable situation there for a period of time, and my parents helped me with this, but I lived in kind of a protective zone, and my thinking, probably by nature, was really naive. So I just was coming out of this bubble in Nigeria, in the vast land in Yola.
Thank you. And how were you able to cope up with things?
Over there?
Over there, yes.
Well, you see, I got a very good support, a strong support from my wife. And she joined me after a couple of months, and we ran a household of three with a daughter, and she is a strong woman, and she was really working together. We were like, and this is part of the story I want to I want to tell, that it all depends how the spouses cooperate in life, and especially in a difficult situation. And there were a couple of some couples that I would compare with ourselves, observing them. Some of them worked well, some of them not so well. So I think the other thing was that that I was the junior lecturer here, and my income was not the highest, but it was the lowest. I was always at the end of the queue of any getting to the house, which was housing was a problem there. So it created additional hardships for us. But with her help and with definitely with certain attitude towards hardship, this is very important in my view. And I learned that lesson there, that you have to be optimistic and also kind of realism, a way all the things, the real things, not to give to emotions, keep your head cool, and we were very considerate in terms of how to spend money. And to some point, then we got a little bit more money, so everything was getting better and better. But because there was another factor that Nigeria was losing the revenue from oil, because the prices and demand for oil in the middle of 1980s was dropping. So we had definitely said that we cannot go on with this. We need some future, and we found it in another place, in Canada, in North America.
Absolutely. And where can we find more information about your book?
Well, my book is published by Writers Republic, and on their website under my name, or probably because my last name, spelling of my last name might be difficult. So Suspended in Vast Plain is the title of the book. So if you put in the search on their website, you will get options of some more information. There, I got some reviews already. One review, I think, and there is the list of chapters that can give an idea how everything flows in the book, and options to buy in paper, in hard book, hard copy, or in different ebook variants.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Stan Kasprzyk, for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Viviana.